Okay, hi, everybody. At 7:15, I welcome you to the Sherborn Conservation Commission meeting of July 17th, 2025. I'll have a roll call of who's present on the commission to open the meeting. Michael Lesser, present. Jacob
Strauss, present.
Murray,
Terry Luskin, present.
Courtney,
Courtney Eck, present.
Matt.
Matt O'Leary, present.
Okay, we have a quorum, and so beginning the meeting. Is there anything that needs to get added that we couldn't anticipate?
No.
Okay, fine. So we'll go ahead with the agenda as is. And let's see, the first thing is we have quite a number of discussions tonight. Before 7:16, the looking at other stuff, there's a warrant, if everybody noticed, for some field work at, I'm not actually sure which reservation it was at, but it was for about $575 for work that was already scheduled and planned. I mean, I guess that's redundant. Okay, that's the warrant. Are the certificate of compliance is straightforward, or?
They are, one of them, the contractor contacted me and said that the landscape debris has been picked up, so both of them are ready to be voted on. They were both completed, they both have their signs up. And they look good.
Okay. Good. Okay, I move that I'll do it together. That we grant certificates of compliance to DEP file 283-0413 for 7 Course Brook Road and DEP file 283-0451 for 10 Coolidge Street.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Courtney?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Terry?
Aye.
Okay, got that out of the way. Let's see, the other, are there any site issues or questions that are quick?
No, we have one set of minutes.
I know we're not gonna do that now. I'm just trying to fit in a few things that squeeze in the 2 minutes if we want to hold to our schedule. Are all the administrative approvals, were they approved?
They're all approved.
I guess I'll read them into the record here. 34, these are all projects that are outside of the wetlands jurisdiction. There is 34 Great Rock Road for a barn addition, 16 Stony Brook Lane for a deck, 8 Cider Hill Lane for a distribution box replacement, 168 Woodland Street for soil testing, 84 Old Orchard Street, I guess, I thought it was something else. Soil testing, 36 Bogastaw Brook Road, new house, 47 Old Orchard Road for a patio, 269 South Main Street for a tennis court, and 132 Nason Hill Road for an addition. Were all approved. The tree removal application, was that also?
5 Zion Lane, yes.
Okay. Under our issue for dying and dangerous trees, we have approval of a tree removal at 5 Zion's Lane. Okay, dealt with that stuff. 7:20. Okay, on the agenda, we have the open space and recreation plan review. I guess, who's gonna, wants to speak about that?
I think I'll start, Michael, if I could share my screen.
By all means.
All right, can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So Kelly McClintock is here with me, and we both wanted to give Conservation Commission a bit of an update on the progress of the open space and recreation plan, of what we've accomplished so far and where we are going in the future. So we wanted to prepare a little bit of a slideshow here just to get things straight. Let's see. How do I?
What are you trying to
From
do?
current slide,
Pardon me?
top left, play from current slide.
Okay, there it goes. Okay, thank you. Okay, so just for a little bit of a refresher for those who you don't know, what is the Open Space and Recreation Plan? It essentially is a master plan for the environment and for our outdoor recreational resources. The last plan was approved in 2018, and we have been working on a new plan that is due for 2025. The Open Space Committee is listed up here. Myself as chair. You see it's quite a all-star committee with Marianne and Nick and Tom Trainer, Kevin, and so on. And then we have the Land Management Working Group with Courtney, Ted, Joyce, myself, Kelly, and Steve. The progress so far that we have done is that we have updated the versions of the 3 background sections of the Open Space and Recreation Plan, which is community setting, the environmental inventory, and the inventory of open space and land protection. We did a full-scale updating of this, and then this spring we were notified that the state has changed its requirements for the Open Space and Recreation Plan, that they have shortened the requirements and changed things around. So we have had to go back and edit our completed sections, but those are nearly done, and we are ready to move on to the next phase. By the way, see this little picture here. Anyone recognize the 2 folks coming down the trail at you? It looks like it's Rocky Narrows here.
I'm afraid to say.
Oh, so those are the Obamas. Not that they were on Rocky Narrows, but they are out here at Barack and Michelle Obama coming down this hillside path. The next steps that we have are to prioritize the goals for the next 10 years. Comes from talking with various committees around town, comes from a variety of residential surveys, and what we want to do is to establish long-term goals, recommendations, and strategies for the next 10 years.
Mhm.
And what we need for you, or from you, I should say, is feedback on what you consider to be the best goals, the most important priorities for the next 10 years on tasks that the Conservation Commission is typically tasked with. What I have listed up here are from the 2018 plans, some of the important roles that CONCOM played in the past, and a lot of progress has been made on all 3 of these goals, particularly the development of a comprehensive management plan that was just is now just getting started, just getting implemented. And some of these plans obviously are probably going to continue into the future as well. Looking forward, the Open Space Committee has talked about a variety of other priorities and possible goals that could fall to Conservation Commission in future years, including some of these ones that I'm just going to briefly introduce in order to get people kind of thinking about. One is that there are a lot of small parcels in town that are under the jurisdiction of Concom, Town Forest Committee, Sherborn Rural Land Foundation, some under Select Board, and a lot of these are hardly even categorized, let alone explored to see what kind of beneficial use they might have. Some of them are just a couple of acres, some are larger than that, but these really haven't been explored in terms of their full potential. And some of them might actually make very good connections between various other reservations where we might be able to put in connecting trails to these, but we really haven't done that yet because so many of these properties are still unrecognized and unexplored. Another possible one is to preserve Sherborn's forest canopy. Probably the greatest weapon that Sherborn has in mitigating climate change is its trees. And one of the priorities going forward could be what can we do in order to preserve canopies both on open public land and also on private residential land. A couple more is what types of recreational activities could be expanded or diversified on conservation reservations. There is always more of a demand for accessible trails, for accessible recreation opportunities, and some of these just might be available in different reservations, worth exploring. Another one could be improved cooperation with other town committees. And lastly, something that the Open Space Committee has found that we should investigate more is trying to do more outreach to residents. If we are trying to preserve water resources, environmental resources, and so on, it doesn't make sense to only deal with open space properties, but to deal with the bulk of Sherborn land, which is private property as well. So we are proposing that whatever types of educational opportunities exist for better land management, better use of pesticides or environmental controls, that perhaps the Conservation Commission, working with Open Space and perhaps some other committees, might be able to think about outreach programs in order to get residents more involved in not only better management practices, but how they can also be better involved in upkeeping our open spaces. So what we would like to propose over the next couple of months is to work with the Land Management Working Group, a small group working with the Open Space Committee, to try to narrow down what could be priorities in the future, what types of recommendations, what possible strategies, and to work this out over a couple of weeks with a smaller group, and then report back to the Conservation Commission in a couple of months perhaps, and go over all these for your feedback, revisions, and ultimately your approval. So that's what we propose to work on the next little bit, and welcome any kind of questions you have right now, and also open this up to Kelly and Joyce if they have any additional comments they would like to make.
Thanks, and I like the cartoons. Appreciate that. Does anybody else, Kelly, do you want to make any comments, or Joyce? You're muted, Kelly.
Just like to emphasize that the commission will be asked to sign a letter supporting the open space and recreation plan. And it can't be approved by the state without that. So we do hope you will pay attention as these discussions go on. And if you have any concerns or goals you think the town ought to be addressing, please let us know.
Okay. Joyce, I guess so I would say, Joyce, did you want anything, Joyce?
No,
Yeah.
Did a wonderful presentation.
Yes. Nope, it all makes a lot of sense to me. And some of those are issues. Yeah, I can maybe have to. I started doing this a while ago, one other little topic as to what extent we want to try to see whether the wetland protection regulations could be factor in some climate change issues. That sort of, it's an overlay with, I mean, overlaps with some of the other issues that you raise here. But that's one that is something worth seeing what we can practically do. It's hard to find things that are practical to add to regulations, but it's something to think about, whether in terms of biomass, carbon kind of storage issues. Does it make sense? I guess the land management working group. You all, this all makes sense to you? Who's on it?
Yes, we had one meeting with Sam and Kelly, and we look forward to the next.
Okay. Is that where Steve is? So Steve was there? Is that,
Steve was there.
okay, Steve and Courtney? And you-
Courtney wasn't able to make it that particular day.
Oh, okay.
So we're hoping to meet this coming week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, to have a small group meeting and start to go over some ideas and possibilities.
sure.
Can I make another point?
Yeah,
The commission is made up of practical-minded people who might be concerned about implementation. If we say we ought to be looking at such and such, who the hell is going to do it? And please don't hold back for that reason, because there's no reason why the goals can't be aspirational. And the first couple of years of the action plan can't be figuring out how to do it.
or if we can do it.
Oh, yes.
So, seems reasonable. And yes, I remember years ago when we were looking at all the little parcels. There are lots of little things that are, some of which are tiny, even a few thousand square feet that are around, that whether we want to keep them on the rolls or not of something. But yes, it would be nice to get through all of that after this time. So at this point now, do I guess commission members, I guess if you have, even though we have Courtney and Joyce and Steve, along with all the other big brains on the land management committee, I guess you guys can think about some of these issues here, whether we want to even have our own little agenda for another meeting where we bat around some ideas, or whether we do wait totally for the outcome of the working group, or whether a little brainstorming amongst ourselves during this process, I think would be kind of I'd like to say fun and interesting. Does that make sense to put something like this if we don't have a heavy agenda for the next meeting to, or even if we do, just to give about, who knows, some 15, 20 minutes or more just to go bat around ideas about either run through all the issues and sort of make a first cut at things, or just pick one topic and play with it.
Mhm.
Because I think, and plus we'd also hear what maybe comes out of the meeting or two. Does that sound interesting there? I see smiles. Is that equivalent to a yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that would work. I think the goal was that we thought it would be a good idea to meet in a small group first and get, get started and have generate some ideas, and then be able to come up with these ideas and at a regular Concom meeting, whether it's the next one or further on down, but then at least have something a little bit more tangible to talk about. But whenever you'd like to schedule that, we will be there.
Oh, if you want, yes. I was saying we could even just do it on our own terms, but okay, maybe we'll just put it on our next agenda to see whether batting it around turns out to be fruitful or not. Or whether we need a little more bounding that comes out of the land management group.
So, Michael, might I suggest we wait maybe another meeting, not this next one, so that we can get through some of our tree stuff off our plate first?
Okay, I mean, we have some priorities here in the short run. Okay. Well, we'll do the meeting after, but if people have thoughts, you know who to share them with. It's a choice, and such. Anything else that would make sense to do tonight on this topic? Okay. And I guess you're also looking for edits to the sections, although I guess the 3 sections that we have in our meeting folder, are those going to be significantly reworked according to the new state rules, or is that something we can start looking at?
They are the draft. There've been a couple of drafts written. They still, some of them are nearly complete. Some of them still need to be edited down. They are readable right now, and if you would like to take a look at them, there's great background information. If anything, they're going to be edited down, so information will be taken away. So nothing will probably be added to it. So if you want to go ahead and take a look at that, we would like to get your feedback on it. If there's anything that you think is particularly missing or should be added, I would just say if you want to read them, don't worry about copy editing. Don't wordsmith. It'll be a huge waste of time. But if you have good substantive comments on the content, that would be fine. We would welcome all comments.
And we would emphasize that you probably will find them really interesting. There's a hell of a lot of good information there.
I could see from just looking at some of that. So okay, one question to the commission, whether, I don't know, whether you, Courtney, Joyce, and Steve, whether you're going to do the reading of those, or whether you want some help in the sense that whether different commission members should read a section or so, which is probably a good idea anyway, given that there's lots of information and you might learn something. Whether they're ready enough to say, I don't know whether everybody should read all of it, which is probably the ideal. The question is what's practical. Whether there's the 3 of us here who are not on that land management, whether we each read one and can give some comments or things. I guess that's addressed to Jacob, Matt, and me. And Terry, I guess you're, since I guess you're not there, I guess I could assign one to each of the 3 of you, and then so you'll take a section. What are the 3? The 3 that we have are the 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
Do you have any community setting, environmental inventory, inventory of open space and recreation lands? They're not very long. I saw some of the stuff there, except maybe the inventory. Do you 3 want to each pick one of some interest, or read them all?
I think
Don't
that
see a reason.
environmental inventory.
Okay.
I don't see a reason not to read all of them.
Okay, that's the spirit. Uh, okay. Um, I don't know whether you're motioning Amelia for something in particular. Okay, let's try to read them. We'll help support the other folks who are doing the other meeting stuff. And we can go from there.
And just to be clear, I'm looking in the meeting folder for today. It's
Right.
under open space plan supporting docs, and it's sections 3, 4, and 5. Those 3 documents are what we're talking about here.
Yeah,
right?
plus the other files are just mainly tables that go along with some of them.
Right.
So therefore it's not a lot of stuff there in a way. But so I'd say reading through that, I mean, I just want to flip through a little bit there. There is some interesting stuff. My only edit is whether we have strict wetland protections here in town. Whether that's the appropriate word to use. It's the only, for some reason, jumped out at me. Yeah, as opposed to what everybody else does. Okay, yeah, those are the things. Okay.
And again, when are we looking to be able to speak in an educated manner on these 3 different?
Well, there's different management approaches to this. I could say to you, let's do it by the next meeting. So that hope some people actually do it, even though we're not going to talk about it then, but I guess you could do it over the next month. It's just a matter of what makes it happen. But right, as Joyce said, we're not going to be doing this until, I guess, the second meeting in August, correct? So,
Isn't it, if it's the meeting after next, it's the first meeting in August 14.
no, we're meeting on the, we've switched around things to accommodate the select board. So we're meeting on the 7th and the 21st. So tentatively, the 21st would be when we will put this on the agenda for some discussion. To some extent, the length of that will depend on what the permitting load is on that night.
Mhm.
Okay,
That sounds fine.
and again, anything else now before we move on? Okay. So as to, oh yeah,
Before you start, Michael, I see Matt in the audience. Can Matt would let you know that your certificate of compliance was approved?
Wonderful, thank you. So I wanted to check on.
okay. Okay, we have a scheduled discussion on 54 Everett Street at 7:50. I guess we should hold to that schedule.
No, we have to wait. If you recall, we're going to wait for the consultant. And
Right.
she's going to be running a little bit late. But because this
Oh,
is
you're
a
right.
discussion, we don't have to worry about the time.
Okay, in that case, why don't we take one of the other discussion items that we could always interrupt when Nicole shows up. Let's see, how about tree? Do we do the stormwater or the trees? Let's see.
Why don't we look at, if we could stormwater, if we could look at that very briefly.
Okay,
In my email to you all, I explained that we're dealing with this because the EPA got back to the town saying that the stormwater bylaw was out of compliance and that we need to bring it into compliance. And there is a bylaw that references regulations, but there are no regulations for that bylaw. The planning board is under the bylaw, the planning board administers the stormwater permit. we have been, the EPA, we had a meeting and they gave us, they suggested that we use the town of Lexington as a template for the regulations, which is what I put in the meeting folder. There's been a group of us that have been working on that. And it has it went to the planning board on Tuesday night where they had some comments. The planning board is going to hold a meeting in August. The town is committed to approving the regulations or submitting the regulations by the end of September. So in order to change for the planning board to change their regulations, they have to hold a public meeting. So we just were looking to get comments. There's a rough draft in there. The rough draft mentions dividing planning board and the Conservation Commission as the permit granting authority, but at this point, we're fairly certain that it won't be that until the stormwater bylaw is changed to recognize the planning board. And the reason for adding the Conservation Commission in there is that most of the applications, and the threshold for a stormwater permit, by the way, is 1 acre. And we have not had, even with these large house renovations that we've had, new construction, they have not reached 1 acre yet. So the trigger is 1 acre, but it would be helpful if when an application comes before the conservation, it doesn't have to go, they don't have to have a separate hearing with the planning board to get a stormwater permit. And, so that it can stay, the application can stay with the commission that's working on it, or the planning board, if that makes sense. So I had included these to just for your review. I know Michael made some comments, Jacob made some comments that were, very good. I'm going to submit these back to the town planner and for her to incorporate or not into their regulations.
Okay. And so they want it, the sooner the better in terms of getting back all of our comments. Or we could do it in faith. I
Right.
guess I had a general issue of, maybe you can help me with, is what's the relationship of this stormwater permit with what it takes to meet the DEP stormwater standards?
Well, it's different because DEP stormwater, there's a different threshold that it takes to reach that. And it's, a certain number of houses or a certain type of project next to a wetland. So it's not, the projects that might be more than 1 acre might not trigger DEP stormwater guidelines.
But in terms of the actual requirements of the permit or meeting the standard,
So we're trying-
much do they overlap, or they're different in terms of, and to what value are the stormwater standards to this kind of work?
So they do incorporate DEP guidelines. So the goal is that this permit is all about protecting the town's infrastructure and the adjacent wetlands and waters from erosion or from construction, and also long-term goals of trying to control stormwater off of a site. So again, if the project doesn't meet DEP stormwater guidelines, but does meet the stormwater threshold, there are things that we could add on that we couldn't necessarily do with just a regular project or site plan approval or through the planning board or something like that. If it were a subdivision, they would be looking at meeting DEP stormwater guidelines because there's a trigger for that in the planning board rules and regulations. But what we were looking for is not necessarily this is not regulations to burden the homeowner who's putting on a small addition. We're just trying to be able to large houses or large additions to be able to provide something, whether it's infiltrating 1 inch of roof runoff off the surface of the roof, something that will be able to trigger something like that. And for larger projects, so there may be a minor in the future, there may be a minor permit and a major permit. So this is just, this start right here is not, it's really just to be compliant. Right now, it's not, we're not looking to, we're not changing the bylaw at all. So it's again, the threshold is still 1 acre. And the plan, although the draft regs mentioned the Conservation Commission, it will still be, it's going to be revised to be the planning board if town council doesn't, if town council suggested it's not appropriate at this point to change regulations where the bylaw refers to the planning board.
But would a project end up having to do both DEP standards and this permit?
So if a project's going to meet DEP standards, they're going to meet the stormwater requirements, the stormwater permit guidelines, and they're more likely to meet it than anything else.
I'm just
It's
wondering whether they have to
it's
do two
easier.
separate permits.
No, but it's easier for them to go through the stormwater permit than it would be for somebody who hasn't already addressed the stormwater through
Right.
just the permit.
I'm just trying to, I guess maybe I misunderstood, and then I'll let you speak, Sean, of whether there's, I don't know, whether one would have something in here that if they meet the stormwater standards, that is tantamount to meeting the stormwater permits issues here. Well, I'm just curious whether that's sort of a way to facilitate the process and lessen the burden on an applicant than having to do two separate applications. That makes sense as a problem? Or?
Well, no, because if you're going to have a stormwater permit, you're going to have some, depending on the level of the project, the stormwater application incorporates the stormwater design that's done to meet the standards, and the guidelines reference DEP stormwater guidelines.
They don't fully, I thought, but when I read it. No, I'm just trying to think of whether there's a way to just streamline it.
Okay, so in practical application, with other towns, it's once everybody recognizes that an application is necessary, or looks to see if they fall within the threshold of requiring one at the beginning of a project, then it's almost just filling out the paperwork and having a hearing to recognize that you're following erosion control standards, and so similar to what we put in a notice of intent.
Okay. I'll think about that. Sean, did you comment?
Yeah, real quick, a different way to look at this, Michael and everyone, is we did a good job a handful of years ago creating the zoning bylaw to match what needed to be in there to satisfy the permit. What we didn't do was follow up with the procedures or regulations. So it's just a dead bylaw. It points to something that's not there. We need to create that. The planning board can't act. And that actually came up when Eddie Rosa's house was being done, because that was more than an acre. And we were kind of struggling with, well, we have an issue with how do we regulate phosphorus loads, and we toyed around with that, and we tried to get AECOM to help, but there was no procedure for that. So we need that, and we need that quickly, because we got called out on it. There is step 2 of this is we need to have a lot of discussions about the zoning, the bylaw in the future. But we gotta get through this first. It kind of primes the discussion, because there's a lot of discussion about where we want that limit. And both sides of that coin is we lower the limit and try and capture some of the projects So if nothing else, our phosphorus load doesn't run away from us, because as projects continue to happen, and they're gonna happen, and they're happening all over, the town's phosphorus load is gonna go up, and the town's gonna be on the hook to fix that. So if we don't regulate that, we don't have anything to monitor that,
Yeah, no,
we're gonna pay for it.
oh yeah, that phosphorus reduction.
Again, those are future discussions.
Right. Oh, yeah,
Go
the
ahead.
phosphorus is, I guess even my issue about how this overlaps or doesn't with the Mass DP stormwater standards can come in the next round, so to speak. And
Yeah, well, it basically just points to those standards, and it points to the level that we want to point to those standards. It's not necessarily gonna be a separate permit.
It's not a
Well-
separate, no, it's not a separate permit. It's just, it guides how someone is doing the design of stormwater if it meets those requirements,
Right,
that threshold. It's
Okay.
not two permits, Michael. It's, it's the stormwater, meeting stormwater guidelines isn't a permit. It's required
right.
when you're designing certain projects and their stormwater management. Which
Oh,
is
yeah,
what,
I realized that. I mean, I misspoke when I said two permits as opposed to two processes, but I guess we can talk separately about the fact that this procedure here in this, these draft regs is not really excessive compared to for somebody who's gonna also have to go through the Mass DP standards. So as long as that overlaps enough and it's not burdensome, because I didn't see how it talks about standards, but it doesn't seem to link back to the Mass DEP ones, but maybe I missed something. Okay. The other people have any other questions or issues from the commission side? I know, yeah,
No, I just mentioning that I looked at the updated draft, and it looks like most of my questions have been improved. That looks good.
okay.
there were, I think, two comments, Jacob, that I added as comments for the planning board to consider. I don't remember which ones they were, but some of them we incorporated and some of them I'm leaving for them to incorporate or not.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest one was around the clarifying what goes to the planning board versus to conservation. That looks much clearer now in the newest draft.
Okay. So I guess the question is whether other folks on the commission are gonna read it and make any comments on the file that's in the meeting folder. And I guess I'll also say that I assume it would be best to get it over to the planning board like in a week or so. Would
No,
that,
yeah, send it over. If you have comments, send them to me and we'll incorporate them.
right, or they can rename the
Yeah.
file in the meeting folder and add some comments to, or whatever. I guess how do you
Yeah,
want to do it?
just
You want the
let me
comments
know
to-
because I'll guide them back to where they need to go.
Okay, fine. So do we what's the deadline for giving any comments? So that we can get it.
Just,
out to-
as soon as you can. There's no, I mean, this is going to be published or soon. So if you have the comments, there's going to be a discussion in August. So maybe some changes will be made then. I mean, at the public hearing, but these have to be published shortly so people in the town can review it before the public hearing.
Right, so,
So, I would say next week. If you have any comments, send them on next week.
okay, so sometime, I guess by the end of next Thursday, you'll send it out roughly to them. You could always have more comments later, obviously.
Yeah,
So we could
that's
probably-
fine.
But I
Anytime.
would say just get out whatever we've got,
Yep.
by then to the planning board, and then we could add more, or anybody could add more, even during the public comment period. Okay, so, okay. So I guess that's all we need to do on this topic at the moment there. I mean, it's nice that we're finally moving ahead and getting regulations. It's always been a real gap that we didn't have anything. And the next step will be particularly important and interesting. Okay, so in terms of the,
So Nicole hasn't joined yet. I don't know that I can see everybody.
not that I see.
Okay. Karen, you're all right with waiting for a little bit longer? She said it might be 8:10 before she gets here.
You're muted, Karen. Yeah.
Sorry, she told me she'd be late. She gave me a heads up so I wouldn't panic. So she was
Okay.
hoping to be here on time, but obviously she has a meeting before this, so
Yep.
she's
She let us
stuck.
know. Yeah, she let us know, so that's not a problem.
Okay.
Okay, then let's move on to another topic. Do you want to do the trees and the I will share my screen. Let's see. Whoops. Can't tell which file is going to be easier to look at. Let's see. Excel, refresh. Okay. This is the table. Should I make it bigger? Can people read this or?
I think you need to make it a little bigger.
Okay. Let's see, where's the Zoom on this thing here? Online.
So we put this table together to basically present to you what other towns are doing for a tree policy for replacement when trees are taken down during a project, and how and whether there's a replacement, and how many trees they require, or how large the trees have to be. So, and we tried to break it down. Some of them went by diameter at breast height, and some was just the number of trees. So
yeah, I mean, we can look at what's here, and I added, I guess I should move it over to the side, see the way this thing works. Is this somewhat large enough for people, or should I make it larger?
That's fine.
Yeah, I just tried to look at all this stuff here and make a list of sort of the parameters we could discuss to see what we want to do. We still have the broader issue of whether we're going to just make this a policy. So there's some flexibility at the moment. But it would be like a policy, so we'll provide some guidelines when we have the option on a site-specific basis to make some to do something a little bit different. Although we could try to fix some of it. I guess if we walk down this, I'll be curious to get people's feedback. Let's see. I'm not sure if somebody just entered. I'm not quite sure who it is. Can somebody check if it's Karen? Let's see. Let's see. Doesn't seem to be. I don't know who MMDA is. I don't think that's Karen. Okay. So, I mean, even I thought one of the interesting things is this issue of how you, because we've said like for a tree that's cut, we'd want 1, 2, or 3 trees, and that's how a lot of people do it, which is basically by size category, this part here. what I thought was quite interesting was to see in Dover, where you just sort of sum up, if I understand it correctly, you can correct me, Joyce, that you could just sum up the dBH in inches of all the trees cut and have a formula such as they use 0.5 so that and then that would give you how many inches of new trees you need. And whether you're doing
Well, that could also result in a lot of trees. They have a tree bylaw that they've used for a long time, and so we would have to do some samples to. We don't want to. We want to be somewhat reasonable, because oftentimes there aren't that many places to add trees.
that's always, we'd always have that collateral. I mean, right. We can use 0.3 or something like that. Or I mean, somebody else uses 0.25. And also partially depends on what's our minimum, whether we want to have a minimum tree size. So let's see.
Lexington had a preferred tree list, and if you use their, you got some credit for using their preferred trees.
All right. Oh yeah, no, I could see having some of that kind of stuff. It depends on and how much we do, like we've talked before, whether we want a canopy tree or some other kind of tree. So not just a matter of species, but I guess that overlaps with whether it's its function of canopy or not. Do we want to specify the minimum size of a replacement tree? I think we've used about 2.5 or 3, I don't know. There was the whole thing is I wanted a larger tree, and then I learned that larger trees don't take as well. So are we going to stay with something like 2.5, or what do people say?
Are
Well,
you
I've
talking-
heard the same that you've heard, that a larger tree means that the roots are stressed longer and it takes a while for the tree to settle in. And so I don't know how other folks feel, but I'm good with a smaller tree. The hard part for me is, especially for canopy trees coming down, to say that a 2.5-inch caliper is equivalent to the big tree that just came down. That's not so for quite a lot of years. So, you know, there's some essential tension there.
Oh yeah, that's why you can have multiple trees. So it's kind of
Right.
I would.
yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Go.
I'd be more interested in understanding sort of what are some of the circumstances where we would want to apply this policy versus not, because a lot of the situations, it's both. It's you're clearly alternating between not enough replacement and trying to specify way too much replacement, and it seems very rare to find examples where you look at these proposals and say, oh yeah, that would actually be reasonable for a given project. It would tend to be one of the other extremes depending on the project.
Mm.
I'm not sure how to
Well,
avoid that.
Well, we do like on a recent project, we did a sort of a 2-to-1 and some shrubs for maybe I think 5 trees were being cut down. And so, right, it's I mean, right, I guess the question is how we word this as just possible tools to use when determining what the mitigation might be. Or whether you're saying maybe, I mean, it's partially because sometimes we talk a lot about, okay, is it 1 tree, is it 2 trees, or 3 trees? Do we need a better starting point than each time? Wondering about that, or maybe we don't need to do this.
Well, I think the reason we started this is because the at least for a while now, we've been going with this 2 trees, this 2-to-1, and then possibly being able to sub shrubs in there if there wasn't enough space. And we were just saying that maybe we want to write that down so that when somebody does their application, they know that that's what we're looking for, and if they can put that in there, great, that saves them a comment and a step.
It's fine as a starting point. If we want to have a here's our starting recommendation, and if that works, fine.
Mhm.
Right, so
I think
it's
a
like,
lot like Needham, truthfully, what the direction we've been going in intentions. I feel as though there's some good reasons to consider kind of standardizing it and then saying in a special circumstance where this isn't feasible, we could fuss with it, but kind of give something along the lines of Needham, like 2-for-1, here's how big. You want more shrubs rather than trees. Well, you can't replace all your trees with shrubs. And if it's a big old tree, it's 2-for-1 isn't enough. So I don't know. I feel comfortable with Needham myself.
I
Mhm.
agree with Terry.
Yeah. I see what you mean. I mean, right, it's not even if it's not feasible, it's also, I would like to word it that depending on the site, some sites might be amenable to more or less. So that it's not a matter of that this would be the absolute, it's just a starting point, I guess, as opposed to you meet this, then you're good. So I guess in terms of the 2-for-1, I guess we're okay with like the 2.5-inch caliber as sort of a minimum. Courtney, one of my plant people.
Well, what have we kind of been doing in practice? Like Joyce, when they say, oh, we're cutting down 10 trees, what have we been counting?
Well, that's one of the reasons we're doing this.
Have we been
So
doing
as far as trees go,
6
we
dBH?
yeah, we've been counting. We've been doing, I think, 6 inches and up.
Okay.
Not
So
4.
below 6
Hmm.
inches doesn't count. Below
Right.
6 inches and below doesn't count.
Okay. And the 2.5-inch caliper size. I mean,
That's pretty big for a especially for some of the large canopy trees.
We've been requiring a minimum of 1.5 inches.
Yeah.
I would feel more comfortable with that, but what do other people think?
With 1.5 inches, I guess.
If you actually go look at what 1.5 inch like deciduous canopy tree is, those are very large.
Oh, really?
2.5 if they're conifers is fine, but if they're deciduous trees, they tend to measure smaller.
I mean, like what kind of heights?
They're like 10 feet tall.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Do we want
Malcolm,
to,
are you suggesting you might want to say one measurement for deciduous and something else for conifers? You want to just stick with the little guys and leave it like 1.5 inches for everything? I'm just wondering what your thoughts
I
are.
would just make it one kind, like everything greater than 1 inch or something. I'd rather really keep it simple.
so basically we're using the sort of 1.5 inch minimum?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's basically for all. And if we're doing shrubs again, is that gonna just sort of be certain gallonage, or do we do it site by site, species by species? Because it gets a little too complicated to at least to deal with shrubs.
Michael, Nicole is here
I saw her.
if we find a breaking point.
Yeah,
I mean, what do we usually ask for? 1 gallon, 2 gallon? What do we?
So 2 gallons is a better size, but I also like as Terry pointed out, the shrubs can't exceed 50% of the tree replacement.
Yeah, no, I like Needham pretty much as written, but we just change like the calipers
Yep.
and maybe specify the shrub size. Yeah.
So maybe we'll have 2
I
gallons.
just don't want somebody to put in like plugs.
Right. I mean, right, there is the issue of the herbaceous layer.
No, I
I
just
would,
I just
I
meant
would rather, I would rather see a wider diversity of types of shrubs, even if they're even if they're smaller. But I don't know how to specify that in this kind of policy.
Yeah, I guess it'd be like too small equal a large.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about that. Okay, let's come back to this. This is all saved. Let's take a break and move to 54 Everett Street. I'll let Joyce and Nicole,
If you could you
Take it
start?
away.
Yeah, thanks. So we've invited Karen Hayes at 54 Everett Street and her consultant just to come and talk to us about what's happening at 54 Everett Street. Karen's been working with us to bring her property under review and compliance with regulations, and this is the beginning. They worked to control a manure pile a little over a year ago, and have been very responsive in our comments, but we're looking now to see what's happening with an application to address a notice, basically a notice of intent to address the issues on site. And Nicole, did you want to give us kind of an overview?
Sure. Can I share my screen?
by all means.
All right. Okay, my name is Nicole Hayes, wetland scientist with Goddard Consulting. This is the site. The resources on the site include bank of pond, riverfront area, river comes in through this way, and BVW around most of the entire property lines. So we're before you tonight. There were questions about pigs and livestock within these pens right here. And I've done some research, and I also submitted a July 10th, 2025 report in which I hope the commission has read. It talks about the history of the site and how it was an active farm since 1969 and is still being used in that fashion. All the land was cleared back in 1969, and Karen really hasn't changed the landscape per se, but she has added in some livestock pens. So the issues here tonight really is the fencing for the pens and the actual pigs themselves. And since there really isn't any, and there has not been any vegetation that was removed, the impact from the pigs is really for manure. So that would be the issue. Since this year, or maybe even the beginning of last year, Karen has implemented a new manure plan where she has hired a man named Eric Hoffman, and he works with the company called Black Earth. And Black Earth is a manure composting recycling type of company. And so Eric has been hired from that company to come every day and to remove the manure off the site. So he comes every day, shovels it with it, uses a shovel and wheelbarrow and puts it in a pickup truck. And then the pickup truck is taken off site and brought to Black Earth to recycle the manure. So that's an improvement over what was happening before. And since we've done the delineation and now we have this existing conditions plan, we can better look at the site to see maybe where we could move the pens away from the wetland resource areas. But as you can see, most of the site this is the 100-foot riverfront area, 200-foot riverfront area. The 100-foot buffer zone comes all the way. So really the only non-jurisdictional area on the site is the front yard and a little bit of this side yard. Now, I don't think it's best to move the pig pens to the front yard right along the street. We can't put it over here because there's a septic field and the grading would not be conducive to having, that would cause more impact, I feel, than leaving it over here where this is relatively flat. So we're in a little bit of a conundrum on what to do. We have discussed maybe moving the pens further away from the wetlands over here and putting in a trench drain made of stone. So if rain happens, no runoff will get into the wetland here. We've also talked about potentially having the drain and then planting in front of it with some other trees and shrubs to create more of a buffer, a vegetated buffer, which isn't currently there. So those are some of our ideas, but before we start doing a notice of intent in which we understand that you may want that, we just want to know what the commission feels about what's going on in this area and potential solutions, because there really isn't any area on the site that is better to move those pigs to. So I guess we're looking for guidance from the commission. If you don't like the proposed mitigation that we've thought of, which is the trench and the plantings and moving these further from the wetland area.
Okay. Thank you. Joyce, do you want to add anything to this?
Well, I think it might be helpful to have a site visit so that the commission can get a feel for what's here.
They
Yeah.
have to bring snacks. They have to bring snacks for the pigs if they come. That's just one of, is that okay as a requirement?
Depends on what it is.
Yeah, apple.
Okay. We can handle an apple.
Yeah. And I just want to make sure y'all know this is, I'm not doing this. I'm not raising these things to kill them for food. This is, I'm a little micro sanctuary off of Kathy's Unity. I've gotten most of my animals from Kathy. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just trying to save some farm animals. I'm not trying to, I make some money doing it, but that's not my main goal. I'm trying to save these animals that I have.
Sure. An admirable goal. I guess we clearly need a site visit to look at what those options really mean and the condition of the property and all of the books, right? clearly, I guess it'd be interesting to see where the, I guess when you have this plan to mark out even the 50-foot place there to see, is that the 50-foot that you're moving there?
No, this is the 50-foot right here.
Okay. Yeah.
So can I
And-
just add, as for just some clarification, so no vegetation was cleared, everything was already cleared, it's just the fenced in areas and were those sheds, the run-in sheds for the animals constructed?
Yep.
Okay,
One of them was, there was already one there that the gentleman before me must have used. There were pieces of wood and cement in there. It just is a storage, I think.
okay.
Not the people I bought it from. I think Mr. McDonald, the original owner.
So there was no vegetation removed, it was grass right up to the lawn, right up to the edge of the well.
Yep.
Yep.
The only thing I added an apple tree in the middle. I haven't taken any trees down, but I added a tree.
Mm-hmm. And I guess there's lawn all the way up to the pond there too?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Um,
So-
Nicole, I have one other question. So I was looking through the materials in our folder. Did you say something about like an agricultural use?
Yes, it has been a farm since 1969. And Karen raises chickens and sells eggs, and she also, she was selling the manure. I'm not sure if she still is now.
I have a small bit of manure that I sit and then I sell that, but not a lot. Just literally like 4 stall mats full that I
So-
sell that has to compost. Sorry.
Does that answer your question, or?
I'm just unclear as to whether you're claiming an agricultural exemption or not.
No, even if we had the agricultural exemption, we'd have to still
Okay.
deal with the bylaw. So it's really a moot point here.
Okay.
The gentleman who built the house he built the pond so his kids would swim, and then he got divorced, and then with his new wife, they stocked it with brook trout, and he sold it. I heard this from neighbors. He sold it to the fish markets in Wellesley.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Do commissioners have any other questions at the moment before we
No.
the next steps? I
No.
guess I'd like to hear if there's also a first round of any public comments. You'll have to just speak up since I can't see everybody if you want to make a comment. And if you change your mind, you can speak up, since I'm not hearing anybody. So we need to do a site visit. There's clearly areas, maybe even for mitigation. If we want to improve the buffer zone and some other parts too.
Which I'm totally okay with. That's a great suggestion. I thought about something similar to that with I have a fish aerator, and the guy said he could put filtration in. But so I had explored that option, and I agree with him with the poop being in the wrong place, and I agree that there should be perhaps an area. All of that I agree with. I don't want dirty water either, so I'm not fighting any of this. I just want to keep my animals safe.
Sure. And okay, in the area that you, I guess, yeah, I don't know what the rules are about keeping pigs when that's sort of outside of, I think, the jurisdiction.
I have had the farm inspector come every year since I lived here, and she's never said anything. So I can't imagine that's I don't know, but it didn't seem to be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the runoff from depending on if it's really held to a daily protocol, you need to have something that as a fallback as to a storage area that's enclosed, so that won't have any runoff as a as a fallback.
Yep, and that's a
Um,
good idea.
Yeah. I
um,
bought a dump truck, so I have a truck that I bought that we bring it and dump it. So that's not an issue getting rid of it.
hmm. Okay, I guess we need a site visit. Is there anything else people feel like we should talk about now besides arranging for a site visit, and then we can have a better sense of what the conditions look like and what's doable? I don't know whether you need the same amount of area for the pigs as you have here. Could
So
you actually make it
before
smaller?
we come up with
Yeah.
different, let's do a site walk
Yeah,
before we come up with solutions. And then maybe have Nicole come back at our next meeting, which isn't for 3 weeks,
okay.
When's the
after
next-
we've had a site walk.
well, just so I know, when's that hearing?
That-
August
August
7th.
17th.
17th,
Oh,
Seventh.
7th, sorry,
Seventh.
7th.
August 7th?
Yes.
August 7th.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, so when
Well, and I guess there are other activity, I guess. Do we have to also address? Was there some other activity of building a berm against somewhere there? That, or some beaver activity that's,
Oh, yes. I had someone come in. There are beavers and they flooded my whole yard. And from talking to old timers, I've realized this has gone on for as long as the beavers have been back here. So I had to have someone come in and I didn't realize, which is my fault. I didn't realize I had to ask permission to come in and they put stuff so it would drain, and then they put more dirt on top of it so I could plant grass. I didn't realize that I didn't realize, which is again my fault, that I wasn't supposed to do that.
okay. Are you addressing the beaver issue in some way?
I'm trying not to, because I've talked to the beaver man who's worked with people on the street, and they have to kill them if they trap them. So I'm trying not to have to, I'm trying not to.
Do you
I
know where
would
the
prefer
dam
that.
is and such? Is that,
Say again?
you know where the dam is on?
Yeah, I know where it is. Yeah.
Michael,
Okay. Yes,
Fred Cunningham here. The dam this winter, part of it just simply where the stream was started back through, so that the beaver activity hasn't started up again.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they've moved on, but our water levels have dropped a good 8 inches as a result of that. So I don't think we have a beaver issue unless they come back and decide to rebuild.
okay. Yeah, and I guess it's a matter of whether the existing dam is causing some flooding issues, but
It
that
was,
doesn't
but
seem
they
to be
see,
true.
as Mr. Cunningham said, they seem to have moved to a different area, hopefully.
Yeah. I guess so. They moved to my house.
You'll see when you get,
Uh,
see when you get there, Michael.
yeah,
Yeah,
Uh,
bring your waders. I'll bring you out to the dam.
okay, I'll do it. I've been doing a bit of that.
And when you do the site visit, there's a bunch of geese that have decided, families that have decided to live by my pond right now and raising their kids. So make sure you wear boots. They are not my pets. I did not. They're just
Yeah.
decided they liked my pond. So, but geese produce a lot of poop. So just wear boots. They don't care about.
Okay. Okey doke. Do we, I guess we have 5 of us here. Do we want to try to tentatively schedule a site visit? And we could see how it works for some others.
Would people prefer a weekend or a weeknight
Weekend
or a morning? Sorry, or a morning.
or morning.
Okay,
I would prefer not the weekend.
that's perfectly fine. So I think we've been. How about
Okay. So we're talking about a weekday early morning.
Next Thursday?
Uh,
What time?
It's this, you tell me, Courtney, you're,
Oh, okay, next week, I don't have to do camp drop off. Anytime.
Okay, the 24th of Thursday. Does that work for Terry? You're muted if you're reacting.
you're,
You're
you're
still
still muted.
My space bar wasn't working. I am committed on Thursday to
In the
be in
early
Cambridge
morning?
at 10. I have to be
Okay.
in Cambridge at 10, so I'll leave well before 9. So
How about Wednesday?
give me a sec.
Matt, does it make a difference to you or you're away?
I'm away. Anything that week is not going to work for me, but things change. Just schedule it, and if I can make it, I'll make it. I likely will not be able to.
I guess we could always have another quick look another time when you're back. Because we don't know what's gonna work for Steve. Jacob, what's
Next
your view?
Yeah, Wednesday morning works as well.
So what time works best for Wednesday morning? 8, is that what you like? Or 9? What,
Either of those are fine.
9 o'clock work for everybody?
Me, but
Okay. What?
What?
not, it
Oh,
won't
yeah.
work for Terry on Wednesday.
Oh, I thought so Terry doesn't work nothing works on Wednesday. 8 o'clock work on Wednesday? And
How about since we have 3 weeks between meetings, what about the following week? The 30th.
Which is a Wednesday.
Correct.
Wednesday, July 30th at 9 o'clock. Is that working for everybody?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Okay. Nicole?
Yep, that's fine.
Okay, and I guess Karen, you're fine. You're just there.
I'm here.
Okay, and Matt, we'll see how it goes, and we'll talk to Steve and such. Okay, so 8 a.m., oh no, 9 a.m. at 54 Everett on Wednesday. Okay. Okay, that should be interesting. And hey, James. So some of us have to remember to bring an apple.
Any vegetable will do.
Any vegetable, even broccoli, right?
Even broccoli.
Mhm.
The only thing a pig doesn't seem to like are hot peppers, and they're not huge fans of Brussels sprouts.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, we'll test the limits here. We'll see what everybody brings. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much.
Anybody else have any more comments before we move on? Okay, we will reconvene with this discussion.
Thank you very much, everybody.
Okay. Oh, somebody raised their hand. Yes?
Okay.
Who's MMDA? I see. Oh, or I can't tell if that's wanting to speak. Whoever MMDA is. Unless you're applauding or it's a white hand of a mime performance. Okay. We'll leave it at that. Okay, let's move on.
All right, thank you very much.
Sure, right. Okay, we have.
Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. We'll see you soon-ish. Okay, 40B project. Well, let's do the 40B. We have to do that, then see how much we want to come back to the tree stuff. There is a draft. We have to submit comments on a 40B project that's been revised down to a smaller effort on Washington Street of two duplexes. So it's 4 units on a much smaller part of the property. We've seen other parts of that property for single-family houses and single-family houses with ADUs. And we have to present some comments before our next meeting. So there's a draft of some comments along with the plan in the folder. I started looking at some things there. Now I could put it on the screen here and see if anybody comes up with anything more to add. I guess I'll just share it so we can just get through this. Let's see. Whoa. Make sure everybody's awake here. I don't know how many read it. I started going through it. I made a few additions. Most important part, this is a project where we will see a notice of intent, but it'll only be under the state Wetland Protection Act. And versus where the ZBA can implement some of the things that we do that's a little bit more stringent as part of the comprehensive permit process. So the most important thing is to have specific conditions that we want to suggest for the ZBA to consider including or to discuss with us or discuss with us and the applicant. So the most important part is, or are these whatever, we're up to about 8 conditions. I can go through them all, whether people have any edits to it at all. Do I need to bring up the plan?
So it's all there. These are standard conditions. I picked numbers of monuments based on the length of the plan, the buffer zone adjacent to each side of the wetlands. But the wetland markers, the fertilizer, the fill, the driveway, exterior lighting, scroll down some more, Michael. Those are all our standard comments.
Except
So
we need, okay. Whoops. Why is it not taking my edits? Oh, I'm under viewing. Reviewing. Oh, it's not letting me review now. What happened? The wonders of the software. Made all these comments earlier, but maybe I have to go. Let's see. I was going to say we're missing about de-icing chemicals.
okay, I'll add those in.
So these are standard except for let's see. I added something here. This is if people look at the plan, this is a large septic system of 12 bedrooms that is in the outer buffer zone of 2 different resources, the isolated land subject to flooding and the BVW on the sort of the southeast and the northwest. And so it's a significant size, larger than we see for a normal single family house. And it something we've done in a project, and another project, Rising Tide, where we asked for the ability to test the wetlands. That's just solely on at our cost if we want to go see whether these septic systems really do leach into the groundwater of the wetlands to get some data on that. We did a baseline for the other big project. We had Wells, part of how we get it done is we got Wellesley students who do it as part of a semester project. And now at some point we'll go back and see after a number of years and see how long it takes stuff to migrate in the soil to see if we can see anything. This would be another opportunity to test something that's even closer. So I would like to suggest that we add that we can do water quality testing in the wetland resources for our research purposes. We don't have any, I don't think we would have any regulatory, if we found something, I don't think we'd have any regulatory recourse. But at least we can go do this, and this is something that we would sort of have in perpetuity. And I'd add the wording that it would be worked out mutually with the homeowners as to when such sampling was done and such. So that's the only thing that's not so usual. Does anybody have any other thoughts to add to this? I guess the specificity. I mean, I have a question about the mitigation planting one, but I'll leave it open whether other people have any.
I mean, one of the questions I had about the plan was that I couldn't tell what the eventual limit of lawn was going to be, and therefore what the scope of tree removals was going to be, or at least I didn't look carefully enough to figure it out. I'm not sure which of those two.
Well, this will come back to us for a notice of intent. And
Okay.
so maybe we would take out the numbers and just say mitigation planting.
All right, but we want a mitigation plan and we want specificity as to the lawn extent and the tree. Actually, what we're asking them for is to give us
the
tree
extent
coverage.
removals.
Yeah. Actually, I would keep it here and say that we want to have the extent of tree cutting and land clearance and what the edge of lawn will be, with a goal to sort of minimize that in the buffer zone, and then to have a planting plan.
So do you want to do that at the ZBA level, or do you want to wait till it comes to conservation? I guess
I want to start at the ZBA level because I think we have a little more. I'd like to see how extensive it turns out to be in terms of the tree cutting and what we might want to ask for, since we might have a little bit more clout to deal with it at the ZBA level, and we'll see how that goes. So I mean, I could see some of this that I would write in this thing that we would come back to the ZBA with some possible mitigation planting plan once they give us the limit of work, limit of lawn, and the amount of tree cutting. And then during the ZBA process, we can come back to them if we have some specific suggestions, even though normally we put that on the applicant. In this case, I would consider us making our own proposal to do that.
I mean, or you could just, say in the condition here, just do the 2-for-1 remove. Well, I don't see how that would be possible on this site, though.
Yeah, I don't think we should specify anything at this point. I think we should come back. We can discuss it later after we know exactly how much is being cleared and what's being cut. And then we can have a discussion about whether we want to use a formula or use this or that. So, but for the sake of this letter, I would ask those things there. And the fact that we could leave in things like where we will expect mitigation plan, things that we might suggest as there. It's a little of it's really just the first sentence.
That's what I just was gonna ask. Do you want to keep everything after the first
Yeah,
sentence?
basically everything after the first thing. And if people, so do people have any other issues to come up with, or I was going to move that we approve this with the fact that Joyce and I, and anybody else who wants to join us, can make a final version and submit it. We can make some adjustments on wording. And if we missed something, we can add that in.
Second.
I like the mention of the de-icing chemicals too.
Yeah, no, we normally do that. It was in some other thing that just somehow didn't get put in here. Let's see. I mean, when you look at the issues that are brought up here, I guess is there some sort of stormwater driveway surface?
Item 6.
Yeah, the 1 inch, is the 1 inch a reasonable number to use? As why?
That's just standard.
Oh.
It's not accommodating all of the increase. It's not a design. It's just a calculation of square footage of roof area into an infiltration system.
So even in this time, I guess we could always have a condition that if we ever see any erosion going into the wetlands, that it has to be corrected into the 50-foot zone or something like that. I mean, we might even add something like that here on the 6th. Okay. Just looking at all the issues we have up here. Okay. Fine, I guess I move that we I'll make it more formal. I move that that the commission approves this letter subject to some editing by Joyce and me. And we can submit it to the CBA.
Second.
Any further discussion? Roll call vote. Michael, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Gary?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Courtney?
Aye.
Okay. We've done this. I guess I'm going to close it since I can't do anything with it. Let's see. Page. Okay. Do we want to just go back to the tree mitigation and do another whatever?
I want to get the minutes done.
What?
I want to get the minutes done.
Want to get the minutes done?
That should be quick. I looked at
I'll
them.
get the trees done.
You want to get the trees done, and I want to say to you that I need a bathroom break, and I'll be back in a minute.
Joyce, which one do you need more urgently, the tree or the minutes?
We are behind on minutes.
Yeah, we are behind the minutes.
These minutes are pretty good. I looked at them. They're solid.
Okay.
We could actually approve them while he's away.
Oh, we could make a motion. Yeah, let's do that.
He's not yet. We have enough people.
Courtney's here.
What is it? 6:26?
6/26/25.
All right. I move to approve the meeting minutes of
I couldn't hear you, folks.
2025.
Second.
Any discussion? Nope. All those in favor? Courtney, aye. Jacob?
Aye.
Harry?
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Michael, are you back?
I'm here. I'm staying. So fun.
Look, we
Okay. Do we want to spend 15 minutes on the back to the tree stuff? Since I think might be kind of close.
I think we need 5 minutes.
Agreed.
I like
I
that.
agree with Courtney. I almost don't care what the numbers are as long as it's very easy to read and simple. You know, 1 for, 2 for 1, 3 for 1, shrubs. Those all seem reasonable to me as long as it's clearly laid out in a way that is easy to understand without doing math, adding up inches and dividing.
Oh, geez. Man.
That's why
I
I
like
I
that.
agree. I agree with that, and I think that
Sponsor.
equity is wonderful. People will feel like I know what to expect. And if there's some reason why this won't apply, those reasons would become obvious in a particular context. Otherwise, everybody knows the deal.
Yeah.
I really like that
I'm
math.
still in favor of the Needham with just the smaller caliper. We
Yep.
can specify.
What
2
about
gallons per shrub.
Matt, is that too much? Is that
What?
too much math for you, or is that an acceptable amount of math for you?
Oh, Jacob, really?
Ooh.
Shouldn't we be discussing invasives right now?
Burn.
How about now 2 trees for 1? Is that for anything in above 20 inches? We're going to go for 3?
It says, well, the
says
Needham's
30.
is 32.
That's too big. I think we should have more. For a 20-inch tree is a lot of tree.
Enormous.
Well, it is
Yes.
enormous, but 90% of them are going to be over 20 or over.
Are going to be what?
Well, I'll go back. I mean, 75% will be 20 or over.
Yeah, 20-inch deep tree is not that big.
I am in favor of what I just said.
I want more for a big tree. We
There's
could put it-
already 2 trees for each tree.
Yeah, but they're puny little trees.
Courtney, can you just repeat what you proposed?
So exactly what Needham has, except we substitute 1.5-inch caliper minimum. And then where it says that the shrubs, we just specify that those need to be 2-gallon size shrubs.
All right. I'm not sure if you guys saw it, but Sean weighed in on the chat earlier and said a 2.5-inch tree usually weighs 650 to 800 pounds.
That's why I'm like, we need a smaller. We need them smaller.
My point is, I'm agreeing with you. 1.5 inches is reasonable.
Okay.
Plenty big. Plenty.
Do we, as you see what I got?
I like 24 inches myself. That's a honking big tree and deserves more than 2 saplings, even if they are 8 feet tall.
And this is all just an initial rough guideline, and we'll qualify it saying that we might change it based on the site conditions. And we might note that, well, this is just tree replacement. Unless this is planting mitigation, whether we also want to give any ideas about herbaceous. But we can.
Well, that's more under stabilization.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just. Well.
Really, what we needed was guidelines for how many trees. That was that problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Seems clear.
So we'll qualify this. And what else? Do we want to deal with any of the tree type things of canopy, not canopy, or mention it? Just mention that there might be an issue of choosing canopy or not canopy.
I mean, I would say at the minimum, I would make our preferences clear, which is for native canopy trees.
Mm-hmm.
So what if I put together favored trees and to you all, and you can add or subtract as you see fit.
Sure.
Yeah, no, there's the tree list from some town. I guess it's.
But the problem with the
Lexington.
tree list from some town that we put up
Is
there
it
is,
Lexington had Lexington has a preferred
yeah, the problem is
preferred
that
tree list,
it has small trees in it.
Oh,
like understory.
And that's not the direction we were going in.
right, exactly.
Yep.
Um,
So I think we should just let Joyce, I think we've given her good guidance here.
yeah, I was just gonna suggest over here that you consider something where we say at our discretion, this thing based on the function of the trees, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
That
Okay,
way, we
yeah.
have-
So like Dover doesn't count dead trees. If a tree is 24 inches and it's dead, it doesn't count in the tree count.
okay.
Does you
well,
all,
do we wanna-
is that
Maybe
agreeable?
we
I'm not,
make a note about snags.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but we've definitely not asked people to replace dead trees.
No, we just want to encourage them to leave snags if possible.
And
Mhm.
if there's not enough, and if the tree isn't decayed enough, I saw another, when I was at the MACC conference, they said, well, you could also just start drilling some holes in the tree so that you help accelerate their use by wildlife. I'm not sure we want to go that far, but that was one of the suggestions that that they had. Okay. Fine. I think we've given her, what's this thing here? Cut, paste. Okay, this online version of Word is not so simple to use.
Well, for one, it's Excel.
Right. You might
yeah,
want it
just-
in column B. That might be where are you looking at the based on the function of the trees sentence?
I know it's all the way in column B. I just didn't want to do it all. This will be enough. She'll remember this.
All right.
I don't know about this last thing here. Okay. Yeah, we could see whether any of that works from Sudbury. Okay, and if I go back to the list of issues, ratio of trees we've done. Do we care if they're cutting down? This such thing as big shrubs, do we care? They're cutting that down, or this is just about trees?
this is just about trees.
Trees.
Okay, we already dealt with this, we dealt with that.
I'm pretty sure our regulations, if you already say you can't remove shrubs without permission.
Yeah, okay. We talked about select, the minimum size, the shrub size. And we're not going to go into a tree fund. That's too complicated. Okay. Okie doke. We've gone through it all. Whoops. Okay, this is saved on the, you have this, Joyce, saved on the town stuff.
Good.
Okay, we'll get rid of that. And then we have, oh, I guess we already did this.
Yep.
By golly. I didn't get to read, let's see. Okay. Okay, fine. Going back to what happened to the agenda? Okay,
It combusted because we finished it, right?
let's see. Yes, it's like the Mission Impossible when the tape burns up. If everybody here is old enough to remember that.
Oh, yes.
If you choose to accept this, or whatever it was. Okay, we've gone through here, warrant minutes, regs, compliance, Washington Street. We're done. Okay, next meeting, August 7th.
Amazing.
Okay, move to adjourn at 9:05.
Second.
Any further discussion?
Yes, there's 2 signature pages out at the back of the building. Please go and sign.
Okay,
Those
Got
won't
it.
spontaneously combust.
okay. Any other further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Michael, I. Jacob,
Aye.
Matt?
Aye.
Terry?
Hi,
What am I doing here? I gotta stop sharing.
Courtney.
Courtney,
Aye.
I was just trying to get to the point where I stopped the recording. Okay, meeting adjourned.